Well, Divine Kika is here to let us know if that's actually a possibility.
Tantra is a path like Zen or yoga that uses sexuality as a door to awareness. So one of the things that we need to learn is that every folding in the body is a potential erogenous zone. Can you actually take the time and start slow and become your own very best lover?
There's a lot of power in one kiss.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we think about we are beings of water, and I say, I share the essence of my being. Here, have a cup of me.
Welcome to Tantra Lounge, Sex Talk Radio. Here's your host, Divine Kika.
Hi everybody, this is Tantra Lounge, Sex Talk Radio, and I'm your host. I am Divine Kika, and today our guest is Cory. And Cory is an amazing human being. He and I went to Tantra school together, and those are fun times, weren't they?
Indeed.
We had a lot of fun in Tantra school. It was a little wild too. Wasn't it that guy running in the
Yes.
golf course?
Yes.
Naked?
Yes.
What happened to him?
Who knows?
I remember somebody got so overwhelmed with the amount of energy that he started to feel in his body. He got so overwhelmed that he got a Kundalini awakening. And that was like a crazy experience that he went through La La Land. And eventually he came back. But that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Those were fun times. Cory is a love coach, Tantra coach, and he's helping men, women, and couples to create a better life. He's also a dear friend for many years, somebody that I totally trust. And I'm very grateful to have you here because I see you as somebody that actually embody everything that Tantra is, all the wisdom, and really took in your life. And I saw you from the day one when I was the one that I gave you a healing, and I saw you pretty much blossom through your tantric journey. And what a beautiful, beautiful gift to watch your growth, to watch your expansion. And I feel very grateful because I have watched many men go through that, but you took it in deep, and now you're teaching and sharing it in the world. Thank you for all the work that you did with yourself and for being here sharing your wisdom today with us.
Thank you, Kika.
Lovely. So what is that is your, I heard you're in an amazing relationship and you're happy.
I am and I am.
I am and I am. And what is the main thing that you think you've done that created this relationship, that manifested this person, this love to be at the level that you're at right now?
I would say the one thing is learning to tell the truth to myself about what I really need, about what really is motivating me, and just to be really honest about that. And then also the decision to be bold, to live my 100%, live my truth, and saying, you know, this is what I want, and just making that as an invitation to the world and to the people around me. You know, this is what I'm about, and this is what I would like.
So what makes your relationship your ease, finding your ease? This talk a lot about ease, and a lot of Tantra teachers like that word ease. And would you share with us some specific practices, like to our listeners, the people that are home and that want to create, I know you're there and you want to create a fantastic relationship in your life. And so what you would give to them, some practices, something that they can be truthful, they can know, because it takes so much to know oneself and know what we need and what we're feeling, what we want.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to express it, right?
Right. So I think as part of the primary skill set is to spend a little time alone, preferably every day, at least some me time, where I'm in quiet reflection, and that can be, you know, taking a walk and having time to think. I do a lot of driving, so I think while I'm driving, and I don't play the radio or whatever. I just really ponder, and so knowing myself and being clear about what I value and what I'm wanting to create then I can communicate that because I already know it. I'm not trying to figure it out as I go, or I'm not being kind of swayed by the winds of, you know, what's happening in the relationship, but I'm clear about what I want.
So what do you ask yourself in those times that you are alone? What are the questions that the person could ask themselves? So what they're looking for? Somebody that doesn't know anything about it.
Sure. Well, you know, I'm really of the school that the truth and the answers, they aren't in my head. They're in my body. And so I oftentimes will ask myself, where am I feeling this? You know, is it in my stomach? Is it in my throat? Is my back getting tight? You know, and that helps. That's the first real clues that helps me, you know, follow the thread and examine, wow, I'm feeling tense in this area of my body, or I'm feeling elated in this area of my body, and then I look for what that's connected to. What need is either not being expressed, or what need, you know, is being expressed, and what kind of happiness is flowing through me. And
or not happy at the moment too, right? Like there'll be happy moments and sometimes it's not.
Yeah. So I'm really feeling into my body, looking for the truth there, and asking myself, well, what do I make this mean? You know, well, this person did this or that. Well, okay, that's what happened, but then what do I make it mean? What am I choosing to? Am I choosing to get enmeshed in someone else's story and get kind of caught up in it, or am I
so easy to do
just really going back to what my values are? You know, I value transparency. I value alone time. I value connected time. I value fun. I value light. So, you know, those kind of things.
I like a lot what you said about listening to your body. I remember one of these teachers, I hope to interview him sometime soon. I'm not going to say his name. But what he taught me was that when we are in the discussion and when things get hot and your partner is mad and there's that anger moment, instead of going with that, like that, there's other way that Scott Katama teach, but I like this approach too. This is a little bit different than compassionate communication. It's going into the body and say, I'm feeling a warm sensation in my stomach right now. And I'm feeling like this heat in my body, and I feel like my throat is constricted. Or I feel like there is this heaviness in my head. Or it could be, you know, last night I was saying that I feel like my heart is warm and I feel like I'm melting into my feminine. And there's this sensation of warm and fuzzy in my heart. And so when we express what is in the body, it helps our partners to understand more what we're feeling, because sometimes the words that are in our mind, they can't really express what we want to say. And I thought that was fabulous. So I hope you at home can use that. And I really like that you're saying that. Let's take time alone. Let's look inside. It's important. It's beautiful.
Yeah, sure. And the other thing too is it's not this kind of careful, politically correct, this is what I think should happen, or it's honoring what's going on, honoring what's happening and what's real for myself, for my partner. And so if my partner is upset, I'm not necessarily going to try to minimize or make it better or offer some emotional salve. Oftentimes my advice is to, you know, that sounds very real for you right now.
I'm so angry right now. What do you do when that happens?
Express it. Let's feel it together. I'm not afraid of strong emotion. Exactly. And then sometimes when I'm in the depths of
a lot of men get scared of that, though.
Sure.
I honor you for being brave enough to go there, because a lot of men, the experience is, oh, she's crazy. I'm out of here. I can't. It's too big for me.
Sure. Well, I look at it like similar to weather. So
how's the weather not tender?
And I will ask that exactly. You're just right. How's the weather? Good morning. Is there a weather report today? What's your internal weather report?
Well, my lover now is Persian, so I go through the weather. I could put a Brazilian and a Persian together. We are not the quiet, calm couple. We say what is the way it is, and we love each other enough to listen to each other in those moments and handle it. And as you say, it's so important.
Divine Kika is an international Tantra master, author, seminar leader, relationship and sex coach. She will teach you to master your sexuality and self-awareness so you can experience fulfillment while living a life of love, power and passion. She guides you achieve the love life you have always wanted and have the best sex ever. If you want to create a truly happy relationship, sign up for personal coaching sessions today at www.divinekika.com.
And not everything has to be thought out as a mental exercise. We can just feel it and we can express, as you were saying, just an "r." It doesn't have to be words. It can just be like, I'm feeling a sound right now. This is the sound of what I'm feeling. Like, or rah, or whatever. Yeah.
Being able to receive that. But when is enough? When enough is enough?
Well, enough is enough when I'm judging that it's not serving me or her. If it becomes a loop and you're just going...
people, when they're stuck,
Yeah, and I know for me personally, if I'm alone, oftentimes I'll give myself a time limit. I'm going to feel this way for a morning or an hour or a day. And then I have other things I need to attend to that need my attention. And so I'm going to be down in my depths or whatever it is with a time constraint. And then if I need to, I can feel it. I can drop into that space and be with myself later or another day. And so, and for my partner, I'm looking at her with an eye of, is this really serving her? Is she going just round and round? Too much.
Then when people are stuck, sometimes it's hard for them, especially as a woman. I've been there a long time ago. I thank God for Scott Katamas. I mean, I feel like I speak another language now when it comes to love, but I get triggered sometimes, and when we're triggered, it's hard to get off it. It's hard to go to that place where we are centered and calm. So what do you recommend to people? I have my strategies where I go to this very calm space. I kind of take off and I go to this calm space. And when I'm too calm, it's kind of scary for most people because I'm able to be extremely calm when disaster is going around.
Sure. So what I will do is if she's identified her feelings and she's gone around and really said, this is what I'm really feeling, we can, move past that. But if she's just telling story, this happened, that happened,
victimizing or
then I will help direct it to, well, how did that feel? What are you feeling now? And even where do you, and then bring it to her body. Where are you feeling that? And help her get into that feeling. And then when she's really gotten that piece, then we can move on to, what are you needing? What would help you right now? What would help you right now is kind of our current favorite. What would help you?
What would help you?
Yeah.
I always ask myself, that's one of the things that I got from Scott, like when there's something going on, what am I feeling and what am I needing? And really, that knowing that, and I will post on our Facebook page the list of needs and feelings that Scott Katamas have it so beautifully in his site, and we invite you to look at that list and check it out, right? So
definitely, I keep a copy at home for sure.
Yeah. Some people have it in the refrigerators, they have it on the car, they have it themselves. I think it's so important to know what we're feeling because in life we're so disconnected.
Sure, and I actually just emailed it this week to my coaching client, and we're going to be working with it on Saturday. As part of our coaching session.
Yeah, I always get to that, especially with couples. It's like one of the first things. And what am I needing? What am I feeling? What am I needing? And then the feelings when our needs are being met, when they're not being met, are very different.
Right. And so we're basically the needing part is almost two parts, because the need could be, I have a need for security, or I have a need to feel safe. I have a need for adventure. I have a need for comfort and truth. I have a need for truth. I have a need for intimacy, and I have a need for touch. And so then the next logical place to go with that is, well, can we form that into a request?
Yes, a clear request. And I think when our partners are able to say, I feel, the other day I did a phone call. I'm feeling a little bit sad and lonely, and I feel disconnected, and I need reassurance. I need to remember that you love me. Can we talk about your love for me right now? But it takes a lot to go through my own feelings and to be able to call my man and say, hey, I need reassurance right now. Would you give it to me?
Sure, and that's a beautiful thing
A
from
lot
the
of people
man's
not able
side,
to.
because the men are oftentimes having to kind of play 20 questions, or otherwise like, I get that this is a distress, but I'm not quite sure what to do about it. And if the woman can say, please do this, then the man is, that's awesome.
Welcome to Tantra Lounge.
Sex Talk Radio.
Divine Kika is a radiant force, overflowing with positive energy, guiding you to a heart-opening, blissful, authentic, tantric experience. This show will help you to expand your joy, cultivate more intimacy in your life, and rediscover the pleasure within your personal relationships. A lot of people have questions out there about Tantra. I think there's a lot of misconceptions, would you say? Some misunderstandings about what it's all about?
Yeah. When I say I'm a Tantra teacher, people look at me like I wish I could show you their faces. They have these big eyes and like a little, and excitement. It's like a little bit of fear and a little bit of nervous, and they look with these big eyes and a big smile because a big part of them is really curious about what it is.
Of course.
But then there is a little bit fear. So it all means excitement.
I think so. It's a stimulating topic.
Tantra is a path like Zen or yoga that uses sexuality as a door to awareness.
That's right.
And then Tantra is also choosing with awareness what brings us joy. Now, if we're expanding that, like what is really be conscious enough, knowing oneself enough, knowing your surroundings, knowing what your deepest desires, fears, emotions, and send that into how can I bring more joy into my life? And from that joy, expand throughout all those around me.
Absolutely. I think that when it comes to Tantra and sex, it's such a hot topic. Of course, people are interested in it. Of course, they want to hear about it. They want to talk about it. But really, it's just scratching the surface of it. Although sexuality is very much embraced in Tantra, it is really not the primary focus or point.
And another thing about needs that I think it's very important is, like, I cannot place my need on you. Let me see what I need right now, Cory. I need to have wild sex. You must give it to me. And it's my need. I need to be able to provide for myself, and my partner need to know that I am able to take care of myself. Is that? Do you agree with that?
I do, and so one of the
It's
other.
okay to ask, but it doesn't mean that your partner's. I'm sorry.
No, terrific. So then what we can also give to our partner is our 100%, just to use a term the way we talk about it, is, wow, I hear that you're needing reassurance, and if you can do that, that's great, but if you can't, if your 100% is that you're pulled in these other directions, you can say, I'm happy to be with you and give you reassurance for a couple minutes. and
Yes.
I have to go, or I have these other things. But it's really important for me to be with you, and I love providing for you, and my 100% is that I can only do it for a certain amount of time, or, you know, however that looks, we can either give 100% yes, or my 100% is yes with these modifications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like one of the things that Scott used to say, like, give yourself an empathy injection. That's why I did this, because that is like, okay, this is not working for me at all right here. I'm just gonna give myself a nice empathy injection.
Right.
And I let it soak in. Okay, I'm okay. Now I can handle this.
Sure.
I can handle a little longer.
And I love the way you say that, because sometimes we call it empathy, where if someone's feeling something, we can just sit with it and just be with it. You know, I'm feeling insecure. Wow, okay, let's just sit with each other and just let it steep like tea. And
I like it. Let it
giving
steep like
empathy.
tea.
Yeah.
Love it.
And just, we don't have to do anything every time. We can just be with each other and just feel it together.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I like that tea. I'll have more of that tea. Yeah. It's feel it together rather than say, I saw this little video that I loved, and it's like, at least you're not dead. At least, like I said, I'm really suffering right here. I'm hurting. Well, at least you're not dead. At least, my kid died. At least you got the other one. It's like, that's not empathy at all. It's not connecting. It's like, it's exactly what you say.
Yeah.
I think the way you describe it, having the tea together, it's like, let's feel it together. It's really beautiful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's our jam for the show. So you say that you write a lot, and I love your blog. You have a beautiful blog. It's Elephant Journal. Is that what
I just posted a new thing to Elephant Journal, a new article on responding to relationship stress. But then I have my own personal
we'll post it on Tantra Lounge.
WordPress, yeah. And so that's where I have all my articles about relationship, about sex, about intimacy.
And why you write?
I write because I get inspired as I write. I love to share. I like to think that it's helping people, and you never know where it's going to land. And I also write because each time I write an article, I get inspired to write several more. So it keeps my inspiration flowing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, and I heard somebody say something a while back about fight or flight. And I always thought that was, that kind of response to stress was too limiting. And yeah, and there's much more texture and choices. So I started thinking, well, how many could I think of? And I came up with like 8 or 9.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was my latest blog article, and that I submitted to Elephant Journal.
Let's hear about it, because the flight or fight is so like scary. There's always one partner that is like shut down and stay quiet, and the other one will fight, or vice versa. But there's always like, it's rare when they both shut down or they both fight.
Well, the other primary one I have is flee, fight, flight, fight, flight, or fold, or freeze. So you could stay right there, but you're just paralyzed because it's all scary and you just don't know what to do. So there's this freeze. There's the run away, either to distraction or physically go. And then there's the fight, like, let's just, argue or whatever. And then there's the freak, which is just be all inappropriate and crazy and say awful things that you don't really mean and just, flailing around. So,
rip your clothes off.
And then there's the fixer, the fix. Let's make it better. Let's just minimize. Let's gloss over. Let's put some salve on your emotional wound. And it's really oftentimes the person who's trying to do that is more uncomfortable with just being with what's going on, and they want to really more who's
kind of
trying to gain comfort.
nature, isn't it? Like to fix. Like a lot of it's not like totally there, but I see a lot of women complaining. Like I just want to be heard, and he wants to fix it.
Right. He just jumps ahead to solution.
Exactly.
Versus just being and connecting.
Just feeling.
Yeah. And then and one of my favorites is feel. You know, as we just talked about, well, let's just slow it down, be right here, and just feel it and really get that this is a distress or a pain or a wonderful thing that you just want to share. And so if you can just slow it down and connect, then that becomes its own wonderful thing as a kind of counterweight to maybe some uncomfortable thing or distress that occurred.
I love that. I love that, the few together. It's a place that I think if we can drop in there more often, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
Cute. What else? What else is there?
Oh, so we covered fight, flight, fantasy, faint, fold.
Oh, we didn't talk about fantasy.
Well, fantasy was the kind of as a form of distracting.
Like being in a story?
Yeah. So in other words, the way I imagine it is you're telling yourself a story that's not necessarily accurate. It's just a story. And so it's what you're making it mean. Like, oh, my partner is crying uncontrollably. That means that they hate me now, and they don't really want to be with me. They're inconsolable. They're whatever they are, and that means I failed as a partner, or whatever stories people can make up. It doesn't have to mean that. Especially with guys, we are particularly bad at judging why she's actually crying. Are those happy tears? Are those horrible tears? Are they feeling tears? We just know she's crying, and so that's when it's better to not go into some fantasy about what's happening, but just be right there and just be with her, and she'll let you know.
Oh, sure she will. Sure she will.
But I'm comfortable with that. I've been in integrity, and I'm here. I'm present. I don't have to worry about anything I did. I did my part, and so she'll let me know, and I'll respond, and yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Must be really nice to be in relationship with you.
Thank you.
What else? What else you got?
Hi, I'm Divine Kika. I'm here to invite you to my new radio show, this and every Saturday at midnight, to inspire you to create loving, happy, fulfilling relationships in your life and have the best sex ever. I'll teach you tantric sex secrets never known before to spice your life and to give you greater joy. Join me this and every Saturday at midnight. Divine Kika Tantra Lounge, Sex Talk Radio. For more information, go to divinekika.com.
Well, we talked about the faint and the fold, which is the kind of the collapsing. It could be the pity party, or then coming up with some story about poor me, and now this means this about me, and just folding into a little puddle on the floor, and who is that helping?
I'm so miserable. Let me tell you how miserable I am.
Yeah.
And what a victim am I of this?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. And we've all done all these things. I've frozen into place and not known what to do, or I've flailed around and had a temper tantrum, when I was 12 or whatever. And but we learn and grow, and we learn not to just jump in and fix it, or, or whatever it is.
Well, I guess, we all been into all those places, I imagine, and sometimes we go there, like our ability to really, I am freaking out. I am fantasizing, or I am trying to fix it, and just watch, observe ourselves.
That's exactly right, and I think you've put forth another gem, which is we don't have to we don't have to do any of these things. We don't have to make it mean anything other than what it really is. And we also take a lot at face value in our relationship. We just trust each other to communicate as needed and believe what they say.
And sometimes we, as a couple, I think, like this morning, I had a experience like that because we realized when my kids are there, my kids get uncomfortable if he's there, although they know he exists in my life and whatnot. But we realized that it's not the best for the kids to be together when they're there, not for now. And then we both it sucks. We're both sad about it, and then it's like if we can just mourn it together. I think there is a lot of value on not fighting about it, but just realizing, well, it sucks. We can't be together every night, or we can't. And just if we could, instead of doing all the other things, if we could just mourn some things together and say, here, this really sucks. We can feel it together, and that creates the connection and what we really need.
Right.
That's such a beautiful being. It's awesome. I'm learning here with you. What else you got?
Well, the last one we covered, feeling, is an F word we can't say on the radio. And so
we just do it.
And I really get into that, defining it really as just jumping in and engaging and fearlessly just being in the middle of the stress and and just feeling it all as texture, and realizing that my partner has beautiful needs, and when they're not met, there's a distress, but it's all just a hope for needs being met. And so not running away, but just the fact that she's bringing me her pain is its own beautiful thing. And as a man, as I said, we're terrible at reading minds. We're terrible at judging why someone might be crying or, whatever else. So when she brings me her pain, shows me her internal weather patterns, that's helpful to me. That's need to know information because I love her. I care about her. I want her to have a good time, especially when she's with me. And so I want to know what's going on so I can be with her. And we just have so much enjoyment and pleasure sitting on the couch having a cup of coffee, and it's really our joy together isn't dependent on what we may actually be doing. Just being in proximity with each other, we're happy, and partly because I think we know and feel just how much we are there in terms of comfort and allies and trusted vulnerable partners.
It's beautiful what you just said. Thank you for sharing this beautiful wisdom with us. It reminded me of something that I learned when Scott and I were in the road together. Scott Katamas, my dear, dear friend and wonderful teacher. And one of the things that we actually did a website together called Outstanding Relationships. And one of the things that we really realized is that people want to feel understood. That's the biggest longing for everyone, is once we feel understood, that is something that calms, that's something that I'm cared for. You understand, you got it. You really get what I'm feeling. Because once we get that, it's like, okay, that's why we scream. I need you to understand me. And we asked several of our students, like, what do you need the most? And it's like, I need to be understood.
Sure, and I really admire Scott, and one of the things that he's taught me...
His ears must be burning.
One of the best things that he's taught me is to not even to skip right to the feelings or the needs or the solutions or the the exit ramp or any of the rest of it, go straight to acknowledgement.
Yes.
Straight to feeling inside myself that someone I care about has something going on, and feel the impact that has on me as an empath, as an empathic, and just give them acknowledgement. I see that something is going on, however that gets worded, but I see that this is troubling you. I get that this is hard. And just be present.
Yeah, one of the sentences that I used to hear from Scott a lot is like, I can only imagine how you're feeling right now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I can only imagine, and then be there. Like, I would love to feel that with you. Tell me more. Tell me more. I love that too. Tell me more. And it's good to remember that, because I think I forgot to tell me more. It's a reminder for me.
Sure.
Tell me more.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for writing this and putting it out and sharing this with us. This is great information for people. I think if people really understood that, the world could be a lot better. And we're really doing our jobs as educating and helping. Can you offer some actual tools? I guess you just did. Let me see. Okay, now we have these stories that we run in our heads, and there's like patterns of behaviors. I love to talk about the patterns of behaviors and in neural pathways and all of that. So I would love to hear from your perspective, like how we break through those. How do we get out of those patterns and these stories that we constantly run?
Sure. One of the things that I find really helpful is to be able to tell myself that I'm telling myself a story. Like I can be running some judgment or evaluation, and it's so helpful to be able to put on the brakes, stop myself, and tell myself that I'm telling myself a story. And
how do you do that when you're stuck, though?
Well, if I'm thinking that I'm not up to some task, or that I'm not good enough in some way, I can just say, you know what? That's just a story I'm telling myself. And I do have whatever it takes to be honoring of myself, to be present to my partner, and I don't need anything else but to just be me, without making whatever's happening mean whatever I come up with. But I can just be, and that's enough.
Setting that intention then to notice these stories is what I mean.
Right. It starts with awareness. It starts with witnessing my own mind, and it's actually pretty funny how ridiculous it is sometimes.
And then the next step is like, as a witness in my mind, and what else do I do?
Just bringing the awareness that, yes, my mind's running around a bunch of stuff, and they're just stories. And that deep down in my core, I am enough, and I don't need anything else besides my own divine nature essence that lives inside me.
That's beautiful.
And so the practice that I of going through life is a lot about stopping practicing all of this stuff that isn't really me, and just aligning with truth of who I am as a divine being.
We are all in love with you. You're such a beautiful being.
Thank you.
You are, and this is being a fabulous knowledge that you're bringing to people.
Divine Kika is an international Tantra master, author, seminar leader, relationship and sex coach. She will teach you to master your sexuality and self-awareness so you can experience fulfillment and happy relationships while living a life of love, power, and passion. Achieve the love life you have always wanted and have the best sex ever. For life-changing relationship advice and great lovemaking tips, visit divinekika.com. That's divine, Kika.com.
You remind me of another thing that I learned with another delightful teacher of mine, Helene Rothschild. And one of her sentences, she has these little cards, and I have one with me. And it says, no matter what anyone says or does, I am important, I'm lovable, I am good enough. And I love that. I think that goes a long way if we remind ourselves. And one of the places that my little girl used to go when I was scared is, I don't trust you. Or you don't love me. You know, and now I'm a grown up and I've done all this work. But you know, when I'm triggered, when I'm tired, when my needs are not being met, those little things, they might come up. And I need to be aware enough to stop them.
That's very true. And so the little girl in you and the little boy in me, they don't just disappear when we get older. There's that, that 9-year-old, that whatever year old is still part of what made me who I am, still lives inside. And however, now that little boy also has an adult. And so we can learn to parent that inner child.
Yes.
And say, I hear you, and I remember that that's a fear, and this is what's real.
Thank you for the information, but you are really okay.
Yeah. I remember when that was as old as I was, and that was real, and I'm 50 now or whatever, and I got this. I really got this, and you can sit down, and I'll drive the bus, and it'll be okay.
Beautiful, beautifully said. And this can help so many people.
Yeah.
This is what we are after, because if we are aware enough, and it takes the slowing down. It takes deep breath. I'm here. Let's slow down together. Let's take a deep breath together.
Sure, and that's the thing is when we get into whatever mix, whether we're coaching someone through something, or we're in our personal relationships, or it's with one of my kids, we're not gonna, just because someone's going through something and we got an issue or feelings are coming up, if we just quickly shut it down and say something to solve it, that's not actually going to be helpful to really solve it. And the solution tends to be, let's slow it down. Let's take a breath. Let's just be with what's happening with each other, and we can go from there. It's just rushing through it isn't going to give us the outcome that's going to be the best.
So I really lovely. Thank you. I just want to make sure that we get this, because this was because we had a little conversation beforehand. So what we can do the best to you. So I'm kind of following through here, and you are in a committed relationship now, and I heard the conversation we had is you're the most successful you've ever been in your life, and you're really happy. And would you be willing to share anything about the secrets of being successful in your relationship, in your career, in your body, and everything in your life right now? What is the secret?
Okay.
Because commitment is a scary word for a lot of people.
And so
monogamy too.
That's right. I'm in a committed monogamous relationship, and I couldn't be happier. Part of what makes it successful is that we're both comfortable in our own skin. We know who we are, and we know, we have some awareness of where our triggers are, and so we have the permission and the safety and the container to be ultimately truthful. And and that, as I said before, that begins in our quiet time. And being truthful doesn't mean you get to tell everybody just what you think of them. That's not what being truthful is.
But you mean like Brazilian people, they go, hey, you have a bad hair day. Oh, thanks.
It's really about being honest with yourself about, why am I doing this? Why am I here? What's, that's where it starts. And so then we can bring that truth to our partner once we know it for ourselves.
And sometimes take some time alone. Taking a break is important to get that truth, isn't it?
Right. And so that's partly why I can nudge my partner and say, how about a weather report? Because I want to know what's going on. And that helps me to just be with her. And
I can see like this, you're with her, and like there's thunder and rain and the whole thing, and you go like, oh, how's the weather? Just checking out the side of the window. I love that metaphor. It's really nice to look at our partners that way. Well, what's the weather?
Right. And then another thing we do for each other is we give each other the benefit of the doubt. And so when something happens that we're unsure about, rather than say, oh, well, I bet it means this or that, we say, you know what, why don't I find out? And, well, when you just did this or that, I heard you were clanging the dishes in the dish drain when you were washing them, instead of saying, well, she's probably mad because I didn't get to the dishes, and, or something, or, whatever. And then you're like, well, the heck with her. I'm just going to, sit here and if she thinks she's going to be able to, have a conversation when she's done with that, the heck with that, or, whatever, just la, la, la.
We all know the physical aspects of sex, but we rarely hear of the spiritual side. 10 Tantric Sex Secrets for Greater Sex, Love, and Intimacy Tonight by Divine Kika will bring you extraordinary bliss. This titillating and easy-to-read book will transform your ordinary sex life to breathtaking, amazing, powerful. Great for beginners, let this book be your first step to a happier love life. 10 Tantric Sex Secrets for Greater Sex, Love, and Intimacy Tonight. Available in hard copy, ebook, and audio format at divinekika.com. That's divine, Kika.com.
I'm real excited about your new book, 10 Tantric Sex Secrets. And it's really beautiful that you came out with this, and so I'm hoping that everybody can find it and read what she's written here and take a great start to your own tantric journey and take a look at this sweet book. It's a great little pamphlet. It's easy to read, and Kika's just wonderful.
So we can just go to our partner and say, are you okay? I see you. Thank you so much for doing the dishes. I so appreciate that. Next time before you start, let me do it, or whatever.
Or
I'm
running. Oh, how about that? I'm in a story that you're mad at me. Is everything okay? I just don't want to run that story.
That's totally fine to do.
I want to know what's real here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
do
you think that's sufficient?
No, that's good. No. I think it's a good thing. I do. And it's part of being your own best friend, speaking up for yourself. Going, right. I'm wondering what's going on. And so you're not abandoning yourself. You're running away internally. You're just, you're getting right in there and engaging. And I have a friend who I appreciate so much because better than anyone else, she has her uncomfortable radar out. And if she's uncomfortable, just the least little bit, she'll speak up, and I love that.
That makes people feel safe.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like to teach is be the one that generates your own safety.
Yeah.
Right. So then I know you're safe, and I don't have to take care of you.
That's right.
If anything doesn't feel good, please tell me.
That's right.
That's like so simple, but it's so hard to do, right? It's so hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom, and I learned so much in this show, and I hope everybody gets a lot from it. And thank you for being in my life and being such a sweet friend.
You're very welcome.
And being there. We have a lot of late night conversations. And that's one more quick thing. You give good phone. So tell me more about you give good phone. Tell me more about it.
Thank you. I actually wrote one of my blogs called Oral Sex, A-U-R-A-L, oral, and meaning auditory. And, and it's about.
Thank you.
It's about being really present while you're on the phone, and I'm not on the phone with you trying to do something else at the same time. I'm just really being with you. And also being cognizant of my tone, especially when I first pick up the phone and answer. Not doing it in a distracted, rushed way, but just saying a really warm hello and acknowledging that I'm happy you called in some way. And then if I really am rushed and distracted, I can say, I'm just so happy to hear from you, and I'm really rushed with this other stuff and a little distracted. So I just want you to know that, and I'm so happy that you called me.
That's a good phone. Thank you for giving me good phone.
Okay.
Now I know why when you call I kind of drop everything else and I listen to you. Because you're there.
Yeah.
You're there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for giving good phone.
Yes.
Thank you for giving good interview. This is another edition of Tantra Lounge. I hope this show helped you to create a fantastic relationship. Today we got through tools that can really change your life, and I hope that you use those. And maybe you want to hear those again. And again, I'm going to post the list of needs and feelings on the Tantra Lounge Facebook page, and you can make a copy of those and print them and have them on your fridge, in your car, in your purse, whatever you need. But check in. What is that you're feeling? What is that you're needing? And start to learn about your emotions and feelings, so when you share with your partner, you know what's going on with yourself before you come to that place of sharing. And slowing down. What else? Slow down.
Being your own best friend.
Yeah.
Asking for your 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Give me a little.
Thank you, Kika.
Thank you. Tantra Lounge, Sex Talk Radio. I see you next week. Bye-bye.